Oh my goodness. So 30 days of adaptive has concluded, and I am so grateful that I did this. And I stopped doing daily videos because it truly felt like I was coming on every day saying the same thing. And when you have a chance to look back on something, it gives you greater clarity, right? Hindsight is 20/20. And what I realized taking from that every day I was feeling the same way, is how much foundational support that capsule gave me, because I felt good every single day. Now, if you didn't watch the previous videos, I just want to catch you up pretty quick. doTERRA released a new system called the ADAPTIV system, and there is a capsule which I'll ask you to go back and watch the first video. I explain what's in the capsule. It's all natural and plant-based, and then they have an essential oil blend that complements this natural plant capsule, and it comes in both a roller and a 15 ml format. So I talk about this in the previous videos, the ingredients, what the ingredients do, why they're important, and how they're supporting our body and our brain throughout this process. And when you look at what those ingredients, predominantly in the capsule, okay, I'm gonna say for me, I really noticed the magic was in the capsule. The first 2 weeks, I was using the essential oil a lot. And the last 2 weeks I was not. I didn't need it. I was feeling calm and good and, had my shit together like all the time. I didn't feel that urge to reach for that oil and put it on, my neck and my temples and inhale it from my wrists. I wasn't feeling that need as time went on. And so what I look at, so I still journaled the whole way, right? So here we have day 15, and then we have all the way to day 30. Right? Because I was committed to doing that. Oh, I didn't actually write day 30. I was gonna sum it all up. I have a really long day 28 where I pretty much summed everything up. The whole point when I'm looking back on this is like, I was very happy today, elated, even prior to taking the capsule on a lot of days. This is the really cool part, okay? Really good again today. A lot of consistency overall. Dramatic difference in my general joviality. I don't know if I made that word up. And jovialness. The silly, quirky girl, used to know, present, happier, lighter, more content than ever. First day in quite some time since taking the capsule, I was not exceptionally happy. That was one day out of 30 that I felt like that. Whereas those days used to happen more frequently. I used to just sort of chalk it up as a normal part of life that, you have bad days. But I think with the capsule, taking that daily and having that support for the serotonin, which is our happy chemical, right? It's so much easier to respond to life's challenges when your body has that kind of support. It was just easier to let stuff go. Of course, stuff still came up during the day. It was just so much easier to let it go and come back to that happy place, the place that we all really want to be, right? Who doesn't want to be happy? Excellent sleep, terrific day, very happy. Now, good things were happening. So I want to read day 28 a little bit from you. So incredibly consistent and balanced. So in recent months, maybe in the last year, I'd find it hard to avoid slumps, like down in the dumps. A few days where I just wasn't happy. I was unhappy with life generally, maybe. I couldn't pin it on anything specific. And I believe in personal development. I always want to be working on myself, working to be the best person that I can be. And so that's a daily part of my personal journey. So the only thing that seemed to perk me up out of this was a tiny dab, like a tiny little bit of edible THC. And so I chalk this up to the fact that I smoked pot for a long time in my teenage years and in my 20s. And so what happens when you're constantly supplying your brain with chemicals, with exogenous chemicals, so chemicals outside of you that cause your brain to produce more dopamine and serotonin, your body will stop producing as much. Right? So I learned this from a psych professor, and that gave me cause for concern when I was in university. He said, if you're doing this for long enough, your body's going to stop making it because it doesn't need to, because you're constantly supplying it with an exogenous source. And I want to make a very clear distinction in how Adaptive is different in that way. So it's not providing serotonin, it's providing alkaloids, which the body naturally uses to produce serotonin, right? So it's supporting our body's natural production of this. And now what I'm going to do with the time following this 30 days is I'm going to go to every other day. My initial intention was to go off it completely and then see how I felt, because I know, for example, when you're taking the Lifelong Vitality or any sort of supplement like that, usually when you go off of it after you've been on it for a long time, then you notice like a drop, right? I always say to people, you don't really feel that gradual increase, you know, as you're getting better and better with the way you feel. But when you stop whatever it is you're doing and you drop back to where you normally were before you started making those improvements, you notice that. So my initial thought was to go off of the Adaptive and see if I experienced that drop. But truth be told, guys, I feel so gosh darn good. I'm not interested in that. So I want to go to every other day and see if I can now, because I personally think, based on my experience, that I may have had a slight serotonin deficiency, or I might have had imbalanced levels, just based on how consistently excellent I've been feeling and what a lighter happiness I've had. That silly playfulness just comes so easily. It's, you know, it's naturally there again, which now that it's back, I realize like I've sort of been missing that for a long time. So now I would like to see if I can start spacing out the Adaptive and encourage my body to keep those levels, whatever it's doing, whatever it's balancing out, whatever I'm, you know, feeling so great because of, I would like to encourage it to do that on its own. And so in keeping with that, it's like, you know, that tiny little, you know, couple milligrams of oral THC, not necessary. I haven't needed it. I haven't wanted it. I haven't had any inclination to use that to just sort of, you know, lift me up a little bit. And I not that I'm against it, but we're not talking intoxication here. We're literally just talking like a tiny little lift in my mood, just noticeable. And I don't know if it's noticeable to other people, but if you know me and you're watching this, let me know. I don't know if you noticed. Not that you would know when I had it versus when I didn't, but so taking Adaptive, that's gone away. I'm now consistently happy, perky, silly, like I used to be in my younger years. It's pretty freaking cool. So then all my thank yous. Yeah, so this was a really terrific 30 days. I'm so grateful that I had this experience for myself, because I honestly wasn't sure I would see an effect from the Adaptive, because it has really been promoted as an anti-anxiety, anti-stress, or supports us in, you know, when we are feeling stressed or anxious. And I don't generally feel those feelings at a high level on a daily basis. Sure, I have moments, you know, like I said, throughout my day, stuff comes up, but not something I would say is consistently a problem for me or an issue that I struggle with. So I wasn't sure I would see any significant changes using the Adaptive. And I have been so pleasantly surprised. It has been absolutely fabulous. And yeah, if you have any questions, I think I've been pretty clear about, you know, my experience and how I documented it and, you know, what Adaptive does. But if you have questions about my experience, or you want to know more about Adaptive, please feel free to drop me a message or, you know, share a comment. And yeah, I'll make sure that I attend to those. So thanks, guys. This has been a fun 30 days. I hope it's been helpful to you in some way, and that you've gotten something from it, and that you're able to find what you're looking for. Have a great night. Have a great day. See you later.